So everybody kind of contributes, and it's kind of a group feedback session. So it doesn't just to highlight, it doesn't always have to be private. And if you're doing this kind of when you say like, one person or two people have made the mistake and you don't want to wait till everybody's done it, sometimes not actually highlighting that person, or maybe doing the group after you've given them some private, maybe a kind of a way to kind of protect their psyche, as you mentioned. So
it's interesting because when we talk about coaching, like that would never happen on a sports team. Like it's just in front of everyone.
The privacy?
Yeah. Sometimes, like when I was coaching, I'd ask girls to stay back so we could give them some correction in private. And then a lot of the times when you noticed other people doing stuff wrong and you're not the coach, you would frame it as a like, hey, I'm confused. Or like, I noticed that this is happening. Can we just get correction to sort of limit
That kind of depends on the sport.
And it's always nice when somebody asks for it, right? Like when you actually know what they want to hear about. So that didn't happen in that kind of encounter, but as youth guys, are currently learners and teachers, you want to think about, well, do I actually ask for some specific feedback to help focus your teacher?
With that, the challenge I've found is I tend to ask for feedback often, and sometimes people will say, well, if I had anything, I would have told you already. And then I feel like sometimes that makes me feel insecure, which is interesting because the whole point is to build. But then you're kind of like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have ever asked. But then, so it's kind of this like catch. Like,
Sure.
Don't really.
And many of my colleagues aren't very comfortable doing it.
Like,
we could all do better.
Job, but then you get your evaluation, and of course we're not superior at all things, nor should we be. But then you're like, but there's all those things that you said I could do maybe differently, or I was just meeting. Well, how do I get better than meeting? But in meeting, talking, it was like, oh, everything's great. And you go, okay, well.
I have a senior colleague who said, well, I never got feedback. Why do I need to give it? And I said, well, just think of how much better you could have been. Like, you're great now, but that's the truth. So anyways, that's how I kind of frame it. There are a lot of people who are highly resistant. So when I was program director at one point, many moons ago, I had somebody come to my office and say, I'm a senior faculty now, I'm done this. I don't need to give feedback anymore. I don't need to fill out any forms. And I was like, I thought they were an alien, so. But anyways, they've retired now. But just to reassure you. So, I need you to now go into pairs. You can work with whoever you like. I know one person get to work with Celia.
I know they do.
And then you get so who's partners? You're gonna go on
On this little corner.
All right, you can take Celia, come read this, and which one, do you care what you do? Okay. All right.
Especially
We'll let you,
if I had like a.
we'll let you warm up.
Sorry, I had time.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're all gonna get a different colored sheet. Don't worry, you'll each get a chance to be the feedback provider and the feedback receiver. Just for today. So don't share your sheets. Yeah, you guys have to go?
But Sean
Oh.
helps standards because you need to know.
Okay.
So let's be that.
Oh, this
Do
would
it
be
on that way.
Do it on the way. All right. Isn't that dangerous? Okay, so you two are gonna be partners. Gotcha. Sorry, Celia.
I think I get a blue.
No, blue, yes, sorry. Okay, so take a minute to read your case. If you have a green sheet, you are going to be the teacher who's giving some feedback to a student. If you've got the blue sheet, you are the receiver today. Any questions?
The blue one's a student?
The blue one's the student, yeah.
Mine says teacher.
Mine says teacher on it too.
Mine's blue, it says teacher. It says teacher, student, feedback at the top.
No, the role
says teacher.
But then this is, yes, you're the one
No, I'm the PA. I'm the assistant.
Oh, Habib and I are both students. We can switch.
Oh,
I'm a
yeah.
student. I'm here.
I think,
Should we just switch?
I don't know if somehow maybe something happened with the printout.
We're also
So the blue should say you are a PA student.
I'm a
Very
PA
much
student.
past the part. Like I just.
we're junior.
I think we have our colors switched, but we're
I'm a
fine.
student.
We're good.
I'm a student.
No, we're good.
We have different ones already.
Yeah, I have a
And we already read them.
We're good.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry, something must have happened with the photocopy. Okay.
Yours is control. Okay.
So we have the blue teacher, so
You can edit that as her, because it was like, okay, so it's different colors, so it's just.
Are you a better teacher?
What's going on here?
no, I think we're with the Mac colors.
Oh, I thought it was really bad. It was kind of big.
Well, initially I think that's what I thought.
Okay. I know what happened.
I did already read it.
It doesn't really matter. It's the scenario. So you guys all got the right sheet now? Okay.
So it's good to review some of and the next presentation we're doing.
I'm ready.
Is it okay if we discuss? Can we start?
Yeah.
Yes. How did you send that
Slides, and then I was doing sheets that said print on slides. And then
I feel like they were on the
when you're right, a bunch
So if we start with, I think one of the biggest thing is to like change the relationship, to make sure that you're not information that happens too much. And like, and I think it's more effective if small bite-sized pieces rather than like so much information that everyone's a little bit lost. No, and I understand that it was kind of a last minute thing, but I think in the future, even if you do have a child, I think if you would have had the PowerPoints like accessible, I think it still would have been too much information. So that's just one point. And then, other than that, yeah, I felt like, so for future, so like I would say, try to get into the core of like what's important or not. So and then also try to, I mean, there's gonna be lots of times where you don't exactly go your way, stuff like that, and that's the way that you present it, and the way that you present yourself in general. It really seems like very irritating. Like, there's all of us,
engaged.
Each Friday, you're trying to get on a couple
That's why I guess it's further along in career, I realized that it's really important to have because you're not going to have no, it's just the way that you
Okay. So. One partner needs to go to the bathroom. So I mentioned there's different sheets you can use. Sometimes these are key sheets. These one came off of a toolkit. So now what I want you to do is the person, oh, no, you're not quite finished yet. You stay with the same case. Same case. Yeah, so now I want the PA students, you're gonna let your junior resident know how that went for you.
Go sleep back your bed away.
Maintain your irritation.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I mean.
Don't worry, we'll build time back in for Duncan.
I felt like that.
Were you a student, Duncan?
I was student.
So now, we're the student, we're staying, and we'll have to do,
You didn't give me much and also like upfront.
Actually, like, it was a good presentation. At some point, it's like, something. But it was a good presentation. Like, what did you do? I know it's like a basic, but your background. We have to keep it said. Yeah.
Maybe I would say how I use it, how I use it, but like how I always like it. And just to get it. If you did, then you should like what oh yeah. So we do the same thing. Yeah,
so that you can say, like, the things that we
Do you find it kind of
I think.
Like, if I can do a sandwich, then I'm very willing.
yeah.
I also.
If there's nothing possible.
Literally not like open face
I don't think it's fine.
They're not, they're too immersed in their role.
There it is.
Yeah.
And then you don't like open face sandwich. The devil's hand. We're just saying doing sandwich.
No, I agree.
It was nice. We were even at the salad.
That's like.
So who needs more time? You're good? Okay. Can we come back together as a larger group? So, is this something that happens? Yes. Okay. Are you guys getting feedback and giving feedback during presentations? Yes. Yes? In the ask rotation or in general? Mostly in the ask, yes. What good role modeling Celia is setting up.
That was the whole ask committee.
Yeah, we're trying to, get you to practice, okay? What was hard about this case? Anything that was difficult? Any feedback about it?
When someone is in the defense,
Sure,
it's extremely difficult.
sure.
He's not accepting anything.
So they're not receptive, right? Yeah. And in the context, just so you know, if those that didn't get a mixed up sheet, the person's post-call, they're tired, and kind of fiasco where the equipment failed. We had little minor fiascos today, not full fiascos.
And I think in real life, it's very accurate that a lot of the way I was playing it was not so much disagreeing with some of the things, but feeding it back onto the issues that were technical or.
Yeah, it's not my problem, it's
not my
something,
problem, it's a technical problem.
Yeah.
And those things can be real problems as
Sure.
well, but
Yeah.
aren't there's
Right.
still feedback
You
that
still
could be
exist,
useful. And so it's really often happens in real life where oh, this was the actual problem. It's yes, that was a problem.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Actually, my most recent technical that I watched, this poor girl was talking in front of, 80 people, and for whatever reason, her slides were set to auto forward to the next slide. She wasn't done talking. And so she kept sending the slide back to what she's talking about, and then it would forward again, and we couldn't figure out what it was. So, so for 10 minutes, she was a bit frustrated, so. So technology can fail us. Okay. Now I heard somebody say, use the sandwich, which wasn't a model that I gave you. So tell me about did somebody use that technique? And remind everybody, what's the technique of the sandwich?
Eat something good, something to improve something good.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily use it like that exact order.
Sure.
But just she started with something like this is what you did well in your presentation.
Yeah.
This is what you need to improve. And then after we discussed about defending myself, and she's
Okay.
oh, I see, and then she did something positive at the end.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say necessarily I just that's how I.
Okay, how you framed it, okay. And you had mentioned, Suzanne, an open face sandwich, so what's that?
Just the same idea, but you're not sometimes giving feedback isn't always going to be positive, and so just throwing a lot of positive fluff doesn't, I think, help.
Sure.
So sometimes you can be direct on one end or the other, and then go from there. But
Yeah. I think a lot of times we want to, especially in an environment where we're not doing it pretty regularly, is that we want them to feel better, and so we close with something positive. The one risk though, especially if they don't have insight or they disagree with you, is they're just not they're gonna hear the wrong message that you said they were good. Yeah. Because we kind of end with general stuff too. Yeah. You've been working.
Just a filling technique?
Yeah, it's kind of like.
toasting.
So that's why I personally I talk to them like a red light, yellow light, green light, so that I just tell everybody the expectation is everybody there. Well, there's not always red light, but there's always a yellow, green light philosophy. So there's always something to tweak. no matter how experienced you are at something, there's always going to be a new situation, new environment. So there's always going to be something that you can learn. So no matter how much you practice, so that's how I frame it to them, so that they expect there'll be some yellow lights. And the truth is, there's not, hopefully we don't encounter too many people that have red light things where you just need them to stop right away what they're doing and deal with that. So I wish that for you all, that you don't have to encounter that.
I feel like too, last time we were talking about this, sometimes you don't want someone to feel bad or they're irritated or you're acknowledging their response to you, but sometimes in your acknowledgement, you actually take back everything you just suggested to change.
Sure.
Defeating the whole point of the feedback to begin with. So like at one point she's like, well, I guess you're right, and no, that wouldn't have been your fault. And then it was kind of like, well, everything you've just given me that was legitimate things I needed to change. I'm
Sure.
like, well, now you said it's okay. So
Yeah, it's not your fault.
So it's not just like a new thing, it's also like sometimes we actually, because we don't like to hurt people's feelings.
Sure.
That's how I get feedback all the time.
I found it difficult though, because like they did have all this stuff go wrong, and like
Yeah.
I would be irritated and flustered too, right? And like I tried to I was saying to her like, it had told me she was irritable, and so I was trying to like diffuse initially.
Sure.
She could be like, how do you think it went? What do you think like you could have
Yeah.
done? And that helped, I think. And then
Trying to get her receptive to it.
yeah.
And then the other good thing is, once you ask them for their self-assessment, you know where they stand, right? You know kind of how agreeable or how irritated they really are. Yeah, that can kind of sets you up for how the encounter is going to go a little bit. Yeah. So, other comments around the case? Or things that popped up that were new? Yeah, I think, yeah, the sandwich used to be the most popular methodology, but it doesn't get at some of those other pieces that we wanted to highlight. So how many of you asked for self-assessment? Okay, how much who knows about the two that went walking? I'm worried they're gonna walk into something, especially with all the construction. And who came up with a learning plan?
Tried to. I was
Okay.
like, that was kind of how I ended up framing it. I was like, okay, but like if this were to happen again, how would you like
Sure.
approach it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's one of the toughest and what kind of the time-consuming thing is that you might not have that opportunity to see them teach again, right? So then, yeah, it's kind of counting on them. So one of the things I really encourage people is, if you've brought something up, is that you suggest to them, well, we've talked about this, and I would really suggest that you ask for feedback about issue X in future and get observed. Because you can't count, like, as a teacher, and you might not see them again, and so you really want to kind of reinforce that for them, and that they will be willing to tell the next preceptor, next resident, that this is something that they're working on. And equally for yourselves, I would encourage that. Okay, now these sheets should be correct. In the photocopying. Now, whoever was the student, put up your hand. All right, you should now be the resident meeting attendee. You are the feedback provider. Okay? And the other person is the resident representative for the year. Which one of you or two of you are? I'll give you a minute or two to read that.
The resident rep, were they running the meeting or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know if your year is doing, but something to think about.
As in like have a representative for our year,
Yeah.
to then, I think that's,
Well, you have a resident rep on your RPC,
yeah, we wanted.
but then how do you, as a resident rep, gather what the group wishes and concerns are?
Yeah, who's our rep?
Okay, that would be important
We
to
went to
know.
a meeting last week. So you guys, I think our next meeting's mid-October. If you have feedback. Sorry?
Well, you'll talk the logistics later.
It's a good lunch time.
They were talking about Dunkin'.
He's overused to sandwiches.
Alrighty. You guys ready to start?
Yes.
Okay.
And do you know
That was frustrating.
Yeah. It was late, man. Like, there was a lot of it. It was my first time I went to the space. It was frustrating. You know, a little bit like wrong with that because I just we didn't get to go over everything. I know I didn't get a chance to think about beforehand. I brought coffee, so I was hoping that would have been helpful. And I would present it over. And then people around me, so that they can have kind of got some that, and I found it hard to and then I had all the things on the agenda.
Well, I've been on.
Everyone's just
Obviously. And then the other thing is.
well, I know there's someone else on the agenda. I couldn't do it later tonight. I figured if I sit up today at 6
Like having one of those things that but it's like says what things are out there. And also how when they know what you talk about.
Yeah, like timers. I
feel like you did the job that it's
hard when you're like trying to get all that. Realize we're going off time. Yeah, those are things to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Deciding what
Everyone wants to socialize.
what things you want to do.
This is the time for discussion.
Yeah, I mean,
Not to repeat ideas of our.
I guess next time, I don't know that anyone kind of, I would send out to your agenda. Even along with we can chat about this for 10 minutes, but if you make it go over there, I'm sure the feedback should come right
Could like happen.
I wasn't speaking?
Maybe just like. I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe with the maybe we should do baby bread.
friend resident, the attendee of the meeting, how that encounter went.
Oh, okay, so now I can tell you how I, yeah, so after we get to this. There were things that you had to do better. I came to this meeting and probably said that it was like that, I did not. So I was like instructors, as they were like instructor every time. So in my mindset, most marketers are receptive of that. But like, I need to drop like not playing. What would you do?
Now we have our research.
Lesson, right?
So do you need more time or are you guys done? Good? You guys need more time?
Wait, 1 minute.
1 more minute? Okay, 1 more minute.
Next is the middle of the story.
Just tell who's like totally there to 100% support like your job and who's completely like in your corner, like if you're having a problem. Like,
Yeah, we should be finished.
So like you probably like 7 minutes.
Yeah, we probably will be. Okay.
And it was just like
Sorry? Yeah, sure.
and even though like did a great job of like what it was doing and maybe
Yeah, they can keep those, yeah.
the second one I had to teach, which was different for me, which I now love, but I had really had to adjust to the actual work environment. Just was they get to keep the minutes.
They get to keep the, yeah, you can keep the mints. Oh, if I could go get my bingo cards back. So, how was that? Easier, the same, or more difficult than the last feedback encounter? Feedback providers, how was that?
I think it was easier because at least in our session, I wasn't getting that much pushback.
Okay. And it was a friend.
You were like asking for feedback, so.
Right, so you know that they're willing to hear it. Okay, so that was a good scenario from that perspective. Okay. And then, was it hard because they were a friend and your peer versus somebody more junior to you?
It's a double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword, okay, why is that?
It's easier to ask for feedback.
Sure.
And like, you don't have to be politically correct, you can just be very honest, like, this is what
Right.
And you can also rant a little bit when it's a friend. But at the same time, when receiving negative feedback in a professional context from a friend, it can be
Sure, it can affect the friendship, right? Yeah. Okay.
Just where like I think how the person comes into the, how you collectively come into the discussion is really important. So it's not a personal attack or it's not about you as a whole being. It's in that one moment you're asking for suggestions or advice. And if that person comes to you saying, like here, like Alexa, we opened it up with this, like, how did you think it when I went? And she listed all some of the things I was going to make suggestions around. So it was kind of like, nice. You know yourself and look like you identify these things. So like, how can I help suggest to make those things better?
Right.
Versus like a complete the other way with the other person. That storyline, the person didn't know, they weren't open and they weren't interested.
Yeah, you didn't have to pull any teeth. Although you have to risk like not just saying great and not kind of digesting and coming up with a plan together, right? That you brought up, Habib. Yeah, it's like, were they really going to say that before? Or okay. Any other comments about that case?
I think it's a common case. I feel like meetings can get sidetracked very quickly.
Yes.
Like, because we even had one at a retreat and it was going all over the place. Oh my gosh. It's like without an agenda, it's just people are ranting and you can tell like personalities and everyone has their own perspective of how they want their program and it can just sidetrack and the actual message just gets lost.
Yeah.
So I find it
Yeah, well, that's another session I do. And yes, you quickly learn that, you need an agenda. People need time to kind of digest. So these are real issues, and I'm sure Celia will attest that we attend faculty meetings that run the same way, and it's kind of like, no, like sending it the day of is not helpful. I don't have time to read the minutes and the agenda and process. I'm busy until your meeting, so never mind having prep time for it, so yeah. So yeah, there were some practical reasons for, that was a new case that we made up. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? All right, so just to recap, as I mentioned, feedback sort of number one in what people want to learn about. It is something that will affect accreditation. I hope I've shown you that it can be learned and that it really needs, it'll make the whole learning environment experience better, I think, if we do it more often, and it does require practice. So now your last chance. One thing that was useful that I should keep doing, and one thing that you might want me to adjust or perhaps even stop in terms of this workshop for the future.
I would say keeping it interactive.
Okay. Okay.
Instead of the adaptive.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
Yeah, and you've gone through the TDP, yeah. So, yeah, that's the nice, well, the timing of this is nice from that perspective and the prep, yeah.
And I like the theme of your two role-play sessions.
Okay.
One being an irritated person, which is sometimes what you see. And the other one being a friend, because I think it happens a lot in our residency where we'll just be in the lounge and we need some type of reassurance or feedback.
Yeah.
And so most of the times, even our seniors are our friends too outside of work, so that is also very important.
Yeah, and it's touchy, right? Because sometimes you have to say to a person, am I talking to you as a friend, or am I talking to you as somebody who's giving you feedback? Because that's also a fine line, right? Like we all, and for those of you partners, like your partner and your friends, like sometimes you don't want, you just want them to listen, and you don't want them to help you, right? So it's that same philosophy. Yeah. So I think as the person who's like needs to rant, you also need to tell people, like, you know, I just need you to listen, and I want you to be my friend right now. I don't want you to be my senior or to tell me how I could have done it better, because we all want to make it better, right? So that would be the thing. Okay. Anything that you'd want me to tweak or do less of?
One thing I might consider is I have a friend who does a lot of this kind of stuff, and she talks a lot about the wording we use when giving feedback, so like I feel versus I, and that I don't think it takes a lot of time, but sometimes those keywords make a huge difference to how someone, maybe what we're saying, so maybe
to making that explicit, I think a lot of times when you give each other feedback, that comes out, But, yeah, something to highlight. Okay, thank you.
I think it was good that it came up, but I don't know if it's left out on purpose or if it's something that like comes up organically a lot. Is but like the sandwich method.
Yes.
Some of the cons to using it.
Sure.
Because I think a lot of people are very familiar with it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like your default feedback. So I think like thinking about it in a different way was really helpful, and I'm glad that it came up, but it might be something to add in.
Okay, to add it back, yeah, I took it out. Well, we adjusted time. I guess I could put a picture of the sandwich and put a big X. Yeah. Okay.
And then it sparks discussion.
Yeah, no, yeah. Excellent, so I'll work on making those two things explicit again. Thank you. So hopefully we covered these objectives, and now you have time to get to you're going to crim rounds, I think. Awesome, thank you so much.
If we want to give you back, because I don't need like 15 minutes, I can give you 10 minutes back.
Yeah. I don't want them.